All right, hi folks. Going to try to get through this today. Um, this actually I've upgraded, so the video you should not have to watch more. I'm gonna try to get all of this and get it to cover the screen. So, all right, so we are going to move on into middle adulthood. All right, so this is age 40 through 65. So this is for Erikson's stage. This is going to be generativity versus stagnation. So generativity meaning that they are, generating, they are doing things, versus stagnation, they're just stagnant, which we all sort of are right now. Major life event here is parenting, and adults seek satisfaction, success by career, family, and civic interests. So, just because if someone is not a parent doesn't mean that they, will have issues in this stage, but they will be seeking satisfaction from one of those other areas. All right, so physical development. This is what we normally call middle age, and middle age is, start getting older, and hair starts to gray, starts to thin, the skin begins to wrinkle, the muscle tone decreases. There's usually some hearing and vision loss between 40 and 65, and then wonderful weight gain. So anyway, don't you just have so much to look forward to? We start losing fat under the areas that we don't want to lose it, like under our hands and under our face, and that's what causes wrinkling, and then that muscle tone starts to decrease too, also causing wrinkling. All right, mental development can continue to increase, so this doesn't have to be the end here. You can continue to learn new things, a lot of times, especially women that have made family their priority, sometimes they don't even start a career until their later 30s or early 40s. Hopefully they have acquired an understanding of life, learned to cope with stresses, and are more confident in decision making. Emotional development, this can be a time of contentment and satisfaction or a time of crisis. And that varies based on the successes during the other stages. So if you've done, or if the person has done what they need to do during the other stages, then this can be really a time of contentment. But if they haven't, then it's going to be a time of crisis, which is where you hear midlife crisis. So some of that is based on the successes during the other stages. Some of that is just, based on different people. To an extent, Erikson would say it was based on success during other stages. Not all theorists necessarily believe that. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay, so if they have not been successful during other stages, or if they do find themselves in a time of crisis, this is going to be a time for, definitely healthcare concerns. Could be psychiatric, could be anxiety, depression, or psychological mood disorders, counseling, things like that. Also, if they are really struggling, plastic surgery is a big period of time here. This is the majority of their clientele. I don't mean that all people that get plastic surgery have some kind of psychological disorder. Maybe they just want to feel better about themselves. But Erikson would say that if they're not finding contentment or satisfaction, then maybe they have some insecurity from other stages. So, all right, social development. Work relationships frequently replace family. So, and I'm not talking about your spouse or, children at this point, but a lot of times, your work relationships, the people that you have formed relationships with because of shared interests, regardless of age, are usually people that you work with. Relationships can become stronger or fall apart. Sometimes people get a divorce after their children leave. If they have focused more on their children than they have on their spouse. Sometimes you'll see that happen. Friendships are people who have the same interests or the same lifestyles. Okay, last but not least, older adulthood, 65 plus. So this is Erikson's stage, ego integrity versus despair. And the major life event is reflection or acceptance of your life. So I think as we look at this one, you are going to see maybe some people are grandparents for sure. All right, so physical development in decline. All body systems are affected. So the skin is dry, it's thin, bones break easily, loss of more muscle tone, and all organs decline. So physical development just as a general, whereas in infancy we saw everything like just going at such a fast rate, now it's in decline. This is the last stage of life before death, which death is considered a stage of life, but this is the last one before death. So all the things that we've talked about, osteoporosis, all of those things are definitely going to be happening in this stage. So loss of muscle tone. Here's David. Say hello, David.
Hello. I want to watch this with you.
All right. So, definitely physical development is in decline. What about mental development? So, unlike the other 40 to 65, where we said, they could still be, could still be increasing. In this stage, everybody is going to experience some type of mental deterioration, okay? So the short-term memory is what declines first. And so this would be, when we did that mini mental exam, that you give them the three things like green, frog, and video, and then ask them several more questions and come back. And if they can't remember those words, that would be considered in short-term memory. Or, they might ask you a question and then 30 minutes later ask you another question. Alzheimer's disease is prevalent. One of the reasons that we spent time talking about that, not only because I have a very personal experience with it, but also because it is becoming more and more prevalent, and you guys will see the largest number of patients with Alzheimer's disease in the history of the world. So that disease is just definitely on the increase, and part of the reason why is because people are living longer. So they're living longer, they are having more and more mental issues as they get older. Elderly adults who continue to learn new things, though, they do show fewer signs of deterioration. So this is the time to learn a new language. As an older person, this is the time to learn how to play a musical instrument. A lot of times people that are 65 and older, they're retired, so this is the perfect time for them to learn to do something new, just to make those brain cells work. Okay, also a great time to exercise. All right, emotional and social development. So the stresses are retirement. Okay, so why would you be stressed in retirement? Well, it's a change, especially for spouses who have, both worked, or they're not used to spending that much time together, and all of a sudden they're in the same house all day long. Oh my gosh, okay. So we're sort of experiencing some of that now with the pandemic. So, but retirement, death of spouse and friends, this is just really difficult. To lose your soulmate, to lose your friends that you have had for your entire life. Those are difficult things. Physical disabilities, financial problems if people haven't prepared appropriately for retirement. Loss of independence, this is a biggie, as aging people need more help. They're not, they've gone from being, you guys are breaking out, like you're getting ready to break out from under your parents and make all your decisions and, pay all your own bills and be independent. And then after you're independent, let's say you become completely independent. I was independent from my parents. They didn't help me at all, didn't pay any of my bills after I graduated from college. So I was 22, so pretty much since then I've been independent. So I've been independent for 20 years. So if tomorrow somebody came in and said, okay, never mind, you can't be in control of this or this or this, like you've got to eat this because you can't cook for yourself anymore, so this is what you've got to eat. You've got to take your medicine at this time. You've got to take a bath at this time. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. You know, that causes some major issues in the emotional and social, that loss of independence. And then knowledge of their own pending death. I think one of the biggest things that I've seen recently with my mother's death was her brothers and sisters and how they responded. And it wasn't, most of them were very supportive of the decisions that we made to, you know, not do anything past the point of because she was to the point where she couldn't swallow. And really at that point, you know, if you have Alzheimer's, you're in 7th stage Alzheimer's, why would you do a feeding tube? Why would you do a resuscitation and all that? And but that is a personal decision for every family member. But my mother had a living will, like we've talked about. So those were easy decisions for us to make. But, you know, one of her brothers was really angry that we were not going to resuscitate her, which just is almost laughable. I mean, it was just ridiculous. He didn't say anything to me, which is good because that conversation probably wouldn't have gone well. But, you know, I just looked at it like, wow, I think the reason he feels that way is my mother is 16 months older than him. And so this is like a big wake-up call, like, you know, you're nearing the end of your life. All right, so development of new social contacts is really important here to continue to, because as their friends die, as their spouse dies, they can just fall into a depression, and depression can lead to lots of other these mental issues can lead to physical issues, which can expedite their death. So grief support systems are really important. Church is really important. If that's something that they did before, or even if it's not something they did before, that can become very important. Just being involved in something, the YMCA, all those things. So let me just put in a plug here for if you have a grandparent, you know, call them. You know, call them today, call them tomorrow, and call them the next day, because they're kind of really socially isolated right now. They're not able to be around their friends, and nothing would make them happier than hearing from their grandchildren, even if it's just a 5-minute conversation. You know, they need to have a sense of belonging. They need self-esteem. They need to know that they still mean something. They need that social acceptance and love. And right now, this is really taking a toll on our older adult population. The other thing in there as far as our slideshow is the financial security. So most of them are probably okay if they're retired. If they were working another job, though, like, you know, as a greeter at Walmart or something like that, excuse me, that could be of concern. All right, I will post this video if it works. All right, so we can't turn to that page and review the chart. Okay, so this was going to be our little skits that we did, which I may try to work with my own children on and have us do. Let me make sure this is the entirety of the slideshow for you guys. I think it is, as far as, yeah. Okay, so that is it for the notes. I'm pretty sure that that's all of the notes. We can just look at those together right quick, since I can video for as long as I want to. I make sure that that this is going to be covering everything. So my goal was to get this unit covered in this week, so that we could, yeah, here we go. I can just pull up one of you guys' notes. It does share those with me. I mean, yes, please share them with me as you, as soon as you finish this, you can submit it. Like the only thing to get the 100 points for the notes here is to finish this, finish these notes. So let me just make sure that they're all on here. Let's see, there's young adulthood. Here's, yes, okay, so perfect. All right, so you should be able to complete these notes now once I post this video, and then I will decide how I'm going to do these scenarios. That should be a little fun. May let you do a recording and turn it in, because that would be fun for you. All right. So hope you guys are having a great day. It's beautiful outside. Get outside, breathe some fresh air. Call your grandparents. Tell them you love them. Ask them to tell you a story about their life. That would be something that would especially make them happy. And I'm missing you guys, so let's all try to hang in there together. I hope you're missing me, but I can understand if you're not missing school. So anyway, talk soon.